We are 24 hours away from the biggest party of the summer, which of course means it's time to break down SummerSlam Sunday here on this Friday, August 1st, 2025 edition of Brandon's World. As always, we are in cooperation with the one, the only Voltage Live. My social media links are in the description below. If you missed it, yesterday's SummerSlam Night 1 predictions is down in the description below, and so is the match order card I posted on Substack to determine how I came up with the order for the card for each of these shows. We're going to go in that order once again as we break down SummerSlam Sunday. Let's not waste any time, folks. Let's get right into it. Of course, as I already mentioned yesterday, friend of the show, you guys know him, wrestling historian Michael Reiner will be here on Tuesday's show to break down all things SummerSlam and WWE as a whole. We're also going to talk about the legacy of the immortal Hulk Hogan. With that being said, we out to start SummerSlam Sunday, I believe, with the biggest TLC match in WWE history, featuring the champions, the Wyatt Six, the Street Profits, DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, and Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Now, unlike the World Tag Team Championships over on Raw, the SmackDown Tag Team division has been eating up for months with teams like the Street Profits, DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, Los Garzas, who I don't know where they're at in terms of this feud. We know Pretty Deadly is injured. Obviously, you got the Wyatt Six, and now Andrade and Ray Phoenix. That's eight tag teams that have been battling for months over these belts. And the Wyatt Six and Andrade and Ray Phoenix basically has replaced Los Garzas and Pretty Deadly in this tag team championship chase. And now they're going to have 12 men fight for those championships in tables, ladders, and chairs. We saw it the triple threat version with, of course, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and the Street Profits on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Now we add in three more teams. And the Street Profits retain the first time. I do think the Wyatt Six are going to retain the second time here. I do not think they're going to put the belt on the Street Profits. I don't think DIY is going to get another title reign. Motor City Machine Guns, I could see winning, but their momentum has kind of cooled off since their last tag team title reign. Andrade and Ray Phoenix, I guess, have potential if they're really going to go for this tag team, but I don't see it being a long term thing personally. So, Francium, I guess, would be a wild card. I don't see them being the champions though, so that's why I think the Wyatt Six are going to retain. Again, I think it's going to be an absolute car crash. I can't wait for it. I think these guys could steal the show night two to open night two. Now, the second match. This match has been mostly based on comedy, with Dominic Mysterio been running away for AJ Styles for months, but Dominic Mysterio has been cleared by the doctors. They were supposed to face off, of course, at Night of Champions in Riyadh, but because of the situation when it came to the U.S. relations and what was going on there at the time with Israel, who knows if that affected the booking of that and what this storyline could be, but it turned into Dominic Mysterio getting injured. AJ Styles basically playing a doctor, praying to God backstage to get Dominic Mysterio cleared to finally let Dom defend the championship for the first time since Backlash when he faced Penta. Um, you know, AJ Styles did pin him in a six-person tag team match that also involved the Kabuki Warriors, Roxanne and Raquel on Raw. The title was not on the line. That generally means the champion is going to retain on Sunday. Whether or not Roxanne Perez or Raquel Rodriguez helped Dom, I would guess, because we all know that Dominic Mysterio cannot win without cheating. And again, it looked like Dom was going to turn into a babyface at WrestleMania. The Liv Morgan injury might have prevented that. I think now they're running Judgment Day strong here. As I already mentioned, I don't think Judgment Day loses the titles until Liv Morgan gets back. I talked about that on WrestleMania Saturday with the women's tag team title match. So I got Dom retaining here over the phenomenal AJ Styles. Then we get the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Now, this is very interesting because it's no disqualification, no count out. Each woman has a victory over each other. Of course, I'm talking about the two Irish women in Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. And I've been saying this over and over again. I said it when they had their first match at Backlash. I said it when they had their second match at Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch has helped the Bird Lady, if you will, Lyra Valkyria, come out of her shell. Lyra was a good Intercontinental Champion, but she didn't really have no memorable feud. She was more known as a wrestler than a talker. I think her microphone game has stepped up enormously during this feud with Becky Lynch and consequently this feud with Bayley. I thought the women's triple threat match at Evolution for this title that kicked off the show was one of the best women's matches I've ever seen, along with Naomi, or excuse me, along with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I think Becky and Lyra have a chance to once again tear the house down. And I forgot to mention real quick when it came to Dom and AJ Styles, it's the one match on the card where there isn't a stipulation or, I guess a sanctioned match, if you will, attached to it where there is disqualifications, there are countouts. Um, but back to Becky and Lyra, I think Bayley, they're doing this story that I think Bayley's going to eventually turn heel. She hasn't won a match in months. Now, the question here is whether Bayley screws Lyra out of the championship or whether you put the title back on Lyra. And that's how they get the Women's Intercontinental Championship feud here, is you get Lyra and Bayley. That's kind of where I see it happening. I don't think Becky Lynch is necessarily full time anymore. I think she's going to be used as a main attraction. She's done a good job with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I just don't see her reign extending past SummerSlam here. I think she's going to want to put Lyra over. Lyra wins the feud here 2-1 with a Nightwing. I think this is going to be an incredible match with incredible spots, but we're going to have a new Women's Intercontinental Champion. Next, we're going to go to the steel cage match for the United States Championship where Solo Sikoa and his NFTs take on Jacob Fatu. And again, this one is really up in the air. We know WWE is really presenting Jacob Fatu hard, no gas, no brakes. But what we have found out from Solo Sikoa here, as he's been the United States champion, of course, he beat Jacob Fatu in Saudi for that championship. It was the debut of Tunga Tunga, whatever they're calling him, the giant guy. And let's face it, he has overshadowed JC Mateo, who's really done nothing since he made his debut at Backlash. And then obviously, we know Tunga Loa also returned, and that's how we formed the MFTs. Could Tunga Loa come out and make his return? He's been on the show for a while and helped Solo Sikoa win. Generally, we know steel cage matches are supposed to, keep the outside interference in. We know there is going to be interference because that's how WWE works. I think the big guy is going to find his way inside the steel cage potentially. And as great as Jacob Fatu is, I don't know if they're going to give the championship immediately back to Solo Sikoa. I think they want to build this MFT thing up. I think you could do a thing because it's a steel cage where, the guys interfere and Solo Sikoa just gets out the door and Jacob Fatu doesn't have to eat a pin, but Solo Sikoa can escape out the cage by hook or by crook. As Jacob Fatu maybe is dropping down off the cage, Solo Sikoa climbs out through the door. Maybe the Tonga Loas are standing outside the cage, and I don't know how they're gonna do it. Um, is there a chance? Um, Jacob Fatu maybe throws Solo to go off the top of the cage. There's a moonsault off the top of the cage. Yes, I think there's a chance we get an incredible spot here. Jacob Fatu is positioned to be one of the next dominating forces in WWE, to be the future of WWE, along with Braun Breaker. But I do think Solo Sikoa is a lot better in a group than on his own. I think they want to push these NFTs. In order for that to happen, I think Solo retains the United States Championship. Then we get essentially the match that we got in Evolution, except for it's going to be from start to finish now into Naomi cashing in the Money in the Bank contract, which of course Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Now, this past Tuesday in championship rings, when me and my debate partner Josh Unger previewed SummerSlam, I talked about that when I book things for months in advance. And if you guys listened or watched tonight one of SummerSlam, you guys know I have Jade Cargill winning the WWE Women's Championship from Tiffany Stratton. I believe Naomi is going to retain this match. I think the storyline is going to be Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are going to be focused too much on themselves. Rhea Ripley is going to be focused way too much on the fact she's never beaten Io Sky in a match. Naomi's going to steal it, but I think very similar to Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley, even though this isn't kicking off night two of SummerSlam like it did night two of WrestleMania, I think these three women are going to absolutely tear the house down. Again, it's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for this SummerSlam card as a whole. You look at all 12 matches on this card. Sami Zayn against Karrion Kross, maybe the worst built match of them all. And that's been, three. This will be the third match in their trilogy. So, I don't see a bad match on this card. I see a lot of it tearing the house down. I think a lot of these women are going to get their finishers in. I think we get a very similar situation to what we got at um, Evolution, where, Rhea Ripley's about to win. Maybe she hits Io Sky with the riptide after moving out of the way of a moonsault. Naomi throws her into the turnbuckle, split-legged moonsault to Io Sky. Naomi retains the championship. I do think Io Sky is going to take the fall here because they're going to tell the story that Rhea Ripley has yet to be pinned. Remember, she went down to Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. That's how Io retained the championship. And I do think the storyline here is going to be Naomi as the Women's World Champion versus Jade Cargill as the WWE Women's Champion at Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia in October. That will be the blow-off match to their feud that will end the whole year-long attacker storyline. Naomi will finally go over. You guys know I did not get the storyline at first. I didn't understand where the direction they were going with Naomi's character. I wanted Bianca Belair to be the one to turn Jade Cargill. You guys know I was not excited at all for the WrestleMania match, but they built up the feud over time. It made me excited for their Evolution match with Bianca Belair being the special guest referee, even though Bianca Belair did not get involved much in that no holds barred contest. But I am excited for Naomi as world champion. I think Naomi's going to defeat Stephanie Valkyra, Clash in Paris, and I think like eventually around Survivor Series time, we can run back to Naomi and Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley has never been pinned when competing for a championship. She got screwed out of this match again because Io Sky was the one that ate the pin here. And finally, the main event is, of course, a street fight for the Undisputed Championship between the never seen 17, the last real champion, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes. A rematch from WrestleMania 41. And we all know at WrestleMania 41, we were expecting the final boss to return. He did not. We know Travis Scott came out. We know Cody Rhodes was hesitant to pull the trigger with the Undisputed Championship. But I think this match is going to basically kill whatever bad taste anybody got from the WrestleMania 41 Night 2 main event. I already explained with the Naomi Io Sky Rhea Ripley match that when I'm thinking about who's going to win each match, I am booking for the long term. And I have this idea for the WrestleMania 42 main event that actually coincides with SummerSlam Night 1 and SummerSlam Night 2. So let me refresh your memory on a lot of things here. First of all, WrestleMania 41, I predicted for Seth Rollins to turn with Paul Heyman on Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Obviously, that did happen. At Elimination Chamber, I predicted John Cena to turn heel before the heel turn happened on Cody Rhodes. I said the signs were there after his press conference post Royal Rumble. I was right. Now, I did predict for Seth Rollins to help John Cena retain the Undisputed Champion, or to win the Undisputed Championship at the time against Cody Rhodes, and that's how they were going to form the new bloodline, basically with Seth Rollins, The Rock, Paul Heyman, and John Cena. That obviously did not come to pass. But let me tell you guys something. During the contract signing of this match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, the one where Cody Rhodes took John Cena's hand, signed the contract, and announced it was a street fight. When when Cody Rhodes was doing his promo for that segment before John Cena came out, he talked about how he never quit when facing the bloodline. He was able to finish his story. He never gave his soul to the final boss. He did mention The Rock in that promo. When John Cena came out and said Netflix won't let me do this, we can't have the match at SummerSlam, what did it remind you of? Because it reminded me of The Rock when he came out the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble in 2024 and said, Cody, you're not getting your match at WrestleMania because I want Roman Reigns. And don't let history dictate itself. Cody Rhodes did willingly give up his spot. If it wasn't for the We Want Cody backlash online, we would have got The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, and we would have never gotten the final boss. That was not Cody Rhodes' decision, it was the fans' decision. But this time, when John Cena said we can't do the match at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes brought him in the ring, and he not only hit him with the championship belt, which he hesitated to do at WrestleMania 41, he obviously put John Cena for the table and signed the contract for him. A very heelish thing to do. Cody Rhodes has also been wearing the watch The Rock gave him the night after WrestleMania 40, which is different than the watch that was gifted to him by Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, his dad's watch, Dusty's watch, after the victory at WrestleMania 40. Because of all this, this is what I do believe is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle your seatbelts. Because I do think the signs are there. We're going to get a double turn. Now, whether it's The Rock that comes out, whether it's Travis Scott that comes out, whether it's I don't know who comes out, or it's just a heel turn moment. I don't know exactly how they're going to pull this off. I'll be honest with you, I haven't quite figured that out yet. I do think it's possible The Rock does show up here. Cody Rhodes is turning heel. John Cena's turning back babyface. We only have a few months left for John Cena's retirement tour. The Eras Tour for men is almost ending. John Cena is not going to be around that much in the fall. He only has a few dates left. He's going to be around for the build at Clash in Paris, which I suspect they could do a rematch between Cena and Cody there. They're going to do some sort of match at Crown Jewel. But I think Cody Rhodes turns heel. And I think that heel Cody Rhodes and babyface John Cena is what we're left at following SummerSlam. That leads us to Crown Jewel, which, if you guys know my night one WrestleMania or SummerSlam, excuse me, predictions, I'm still getting used to the 2 night SummerSlam thing. Crown Jewel, I already mentioned it's Naomi and Jade Cargill. On the men's side for the Crown Jewel title, it's Cody Rhodes against CM Punk, and we know their history. But this is where I'm talking about long-term booking. Let's go to WrestleMania 42, where we're going to have the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes as a heel, still the undisputed WWE champion. In my opinion, the winner of the 2026 Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia is going to be the OTC, the Tribal Chief, the one and only Roman Reigns. Because what we can get in night two, the main event of WrestleMania 42, babyface Roman Reigns versus heel Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship. Think about this. A couple years ago, everybody couldn't stand the fact that Roman Reigns was Undisputed Champion for 600 days. Everybody wanted the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes to finish his story. Now we completely flip it. Now Cody Rhodes is the guy who doesn't defend the championship. Now Roman Reigns is chasing the championship and the rematch that he never got from WrestleMania 40. But with both men down in that match, after being out since Saturday night's main event with a torn ACL, that's where we hear burn it down. Seth Rollins makes his way down to the ring, and we get the Ice of the Century 2.0. Seth Rollins pins Cody Rhodes. He wins the Undisputed Championship. We know Rollins has had issues with both Rhodes and Reigns, even though he helped Cody Rhodes win the championship at WrestleMania 40. And then eventually that's where we get the Braun Breaker turn because Braun Breaker's not happy that Seth Rollins just came in and, restored power in the group and won the Undisputed Championship. And that way, one of the main events of SummerSlam 2026 in Minneapolis will be Braun Breaker going over and winning the World Heavyweight Championship as a massive babyface, or the Undisputed Championship, I should say, as a massive babyface against Seth Rollins. Now, going back to night one, as I said last night, is there a possibility the Rollins injury is a work and he catches in on CM Punk here and he walks out of SummerSlam night one as the World Heavyweight Champion? Yes. But think about my long-term booking ideas here, folks, and just give it some thoughts. I think it's a real possibility. So to recap, I had the Wyatt Six retaining the tag team titles in the TLC match. Dom retains the Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles. Lyra Valkyria goes over. She wins the Intercontinental Championship from Becky Lynch. Solo Sikoa retains the the United States Championship, against Jacob Fatu in a steel cage. Naomi retains the Women's World Championship in that triple threat with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And a double turn happens. John Cena back to babyface. Cody Rhodes goes to the dark side. Cody Rhodes walks out of night two of SummerSlam out of the street fight as the new two-time undisputed WWE champion. As a reminder, we will be live on the Brandon's World YouTube channel. So if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, this is where you should be. If you're on audio, go over to the Brandon's World YouTube channel. That link is in the description below. We will be there at the end of night one, at the end of night two, Saturday and Sunday, recapping all of the action. And as I already mentioned on Tuesday, friend of the show, Michael Reiner, will be on the show. And then after that, folks, we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to take a week or two off, and then we'll come back and we'll dive right into football season. This has been an incredible Brandon's World. Get pumped for SummerSlam weekend. Get excited to see the involvement of Cardi B, Joey Roll, and everybody else in between. I cannot wait. Enjoy the weekend of wrestling, and peace. Like that clip from the Brandon's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.